Hello, and welcome to day 23 of Dungeon 23. We've made it this far. So for today, we're gonna do something kind of special, as we've been kind of doing for the past couple days. Now, what I wanted to do, or what I'm going to do, all those things, is I want to connect these two areas together in one big room, so that way we have a bit more, like, space to have stuff. And what are we gonna put in that room? This big room. Originally, I wanted to put like a king goblin and then like some more goblins, but I realized that's a lot of goblins. Maybe on the second floor we'll have like a whole little goblin army being set up. What I want to do is I still want to have like a large number of monsters, but something that's not super high CR. Like goblins are like CR 1/8 or 1/4, but they're still pretty tough and big numbers. Especially when you have like the custom goblins that I use, which I'll kind of showcase at some other point. So what I was doing was I was on Kobold Press's Kobold Fight Club. If you don't know what that is, it's a really useful DM tool where you could just generate random encounters for a set CR level, or you could use it to find out how much the CR of an encounter you plan is. And it's really useful because I've been playing this game since like 20 something, for years, 4 or 5 years, and I still have no idea how CR works, like at all, because it's not even a good metric to like judge difficulty. Like a green hag is a CR3 creature, but it can be absolutely brutal, especially when you have like coven casting, stuff like that. That could be, it just exponentially increases. But yeah, so what I was doing, I was on that website and I was looking to generate some just things to inspire me, like fun little random encounters that don't mesh well, like one guard and 3 donkeys, or just something really stupid like that, just really fun. And one that I got was, I thought it said 8 lemurs. Like, oh my god, that's hilarious. I'm gonna use that. And then I got all excited, and then I realized, wait a second, it's not spelled right. And I checked the monster manual, and it's not lemurs, it's lemures, which are these little fiend creatures. And I think they have like an area of effect for like poisoning or disadvantage, or the point is that it's not nearly as funny as a bunch of lemurs attacking. So we're gonna make a lemur room, and we're going to tie it into the other monsters and random magical things in this area by giving one of them a scroll of dispel magic. How we're going to determine that, we'll get to in a second, but first, let's actually draw out the room. Alright, actually, not very complicated. I did in combining this guy, these 2 guys, and these 3 guys, so it's all roads lead to the lemurs. So, let's put down our lemurs. I do have a little guy, token beast. This is, I really love Roll20's sorting thing. It's probably not the best there is, but I like how I can have things organized. And I recently found my flash drive that had all my little stick figure guys. Ooh, that's giant. So I was able to like make some more goblins, and I could edit my other guy. So I like having consistent consistent looking tokens. Otherwise, it will just annoy me if it's not consistent. I don't have like OCD or anything. I kind of hate when people do that when they say they have OCD or like something like that, where things have to be nice. Like, no, that's just basic human nature. We like to have some kind of organization and consistency. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One more lemur, for good measure. You can never have too many lemurs. So, 2 things. 1, lemurs don't exist in the monster manual, so I went ahead and made them. I'm going to show that right now. Alright, lemurs. Lemurs are tiny beasts, as one would expect. They are chaotic neutral because obviously lemurs are chaotic. I cannot imagine a lemur that is not chaotic. Armor class of 12 because they have a +2 to dex. Low HP, they're not super hard monsters or beasts to fight. They're really squishy, you know, they're lemurs, you know, they're basically like little monkeys. They have a speed of 25, which isn't super good, but not bad. About as fast as like a not goblin. Goblins move at 30, these guys move at 25, and like a gnome or a dwarf moves about this fast. Climb 25 feet because obviously they're expert climbers, you know. Low strength, they're little monkeys, they're not really, well actually they're marsupials, but that's, are they marsupials? I don't know. Anyway, little monkeys, not very strong, little guys, not very strong, they're very dexterous, not very smart, intelligence -3, wisdom's not as good, but you know, they're still there. And charisma, I gave them a +1 because they're funny. They're funny little lemurs. They're lemurs. They're funny. They're, you know, they're wacky. They're goofy. They listen to music. I don't know. I didn't watch Madagascar in like 10 years. No saves. Basic proficiency bonus of +2 because it is a level, you know, CR0 monster essentially. No immunities. Just basic acrobatics. They do have dark vision because, you know, lemurs do see in the dark. I also gave them pack tactics because they always act in a group. Really basic, you know, they have advantage. And it's going to help because they have a bite attack. But it's a +0 to hit because strength, but they're proficient in it. So it just goes up to a flat 0. And they do 1d4 -2 piercing damage. The most damage you're going to do on its turn is 2. So I like using group initiative for monsters, especially the same type, because it makes things so much easier. So the max they're going to be able to do on their combat turn is 16 damage, but that's divided amongst like 4 or 5 party members, and that's assuming all of them hit and roll max damage. They're not going to be much of a challenge. Let's hop back over to the other page, and then I'll explain more about how I want the scroll to work. Basically, the way I want the scroll to work is that whenever the party grabs a lemur, or, you know, kills one, or knocks one unconscious, or tames one, or just grabs it, or searches one, basically there's a very low chance of it having it. Just basically roll a d8, and then if the number rolled is less than the amount of lemurs searched, including the one you've just searched, then it has it. So for example, the party deals with these goblins over here, and they come in here, and they grab 2 lemurs, and they search them for the scroll. That means they have to roll a 2 or lower on the d8 for one of them to have the scroll. So let's just write that down. Rolling a d8, very simple, and it's just a fun little random thing. Like, okay, there's a big slime monster, an animated armor, it's obvious, or haunted armor, animated armor, whatever. It's clearly a wizard making this. Goblins move into like dark areas, that makes sense. The ghoul has some good environmental storytelling about how it got there. And then the party's like, why is there lemurs here? In fact, depending on like what setting you want to put this dungeon in, lemurs may not even like exist. Like, if you're in a medieval setting, you probably never even heard of lemurs. Lemurs are in Madagascar, a small, well, actually a pretty large island, but a part of Africa. You're never gonna see those normally if you're like a peasant, unless you're like some kind of scholar who like studies foreign animals. You're never gonna see these things before. So it's just a fun little wacky thing to have there, and it's a good way to flesh out what's left of our dungeon. So what we have left is we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We think about this. So it's 23rd. So 24, 25, 26. 27, 28, 29, 30. So yeah, we'll probably just maybe combine these 2 guys together, or maybe put a room here, like a dead end here, and then connect these 2 guys, this guy and this guy. And like the final episode, or not the final episode, but the final episode of the month, before we go to room 2, will be to put the rest of the rooms in place and then kind of connect them all together. Yeah, with that said, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all those fun things that the algorithm requires me say you do. once I finish up this month. Obviously, we'll be moving on to the second month, but I also want to do some other non-D&D stuff, or rather, anything that isn't this still. So I have another thing I'm doing in addition to this. I like Dungeon23, but I don't want it to be the only thing I'm doing. And I'm finding myself really enjoying the editing process and like the whole YouTube aspect of it, the video production aspect of it. But I'm not going to go into greater detail about that. I'll make community posts and maybe just make an update video for my plans for the rest of the year. But yeah, I apologize for the poor quality. It's not going to improve.